Dragon Ball Daima episode 6, titled Lightning, is out. This video will contain spoilers for that episode, so if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out and then come back. So this was another solid episode of the show, a bit of humor, action, one new character that's possibly reoccurring, I hope, and some new lore on the Glins, the Supreme Kai's race from the second demon world. So let's actually start with that, because that was some pretty interesting stuff. The Glins are born from a tree about once every century or so. It seems like multiple kids are produced from the tree at once, although that wasn't made clear. But overall, the Supreme Kai said that there are 5 trees, and those produced from the same tree are considered brothers and sisters, although they don't really have genders. The gender part was a little bit confusing to me because some of them clearly look like male and females, but maybe he just means that because they don't reproduce through intercourse, that they don't have the tools to do so, if you know what I'm saying. Are we past the 1 minute mark yet? Okay, there we go. He's saying they don't have penises and vaginas, I think. This is a cool bit of backstory on this demonic race. When I heard about it, it reminded me a bit of the Namekians, who also don't eat and only drink water. There's something about being birthed from a tree though that doesn't feel very demonic. It feels very peaceful and one with nature. I would expect demonic races to be born through more violent means, I guess. Yeah, so this new information about the Glins, I'm not too sure what to make of it yet, but it's still an interesting addition to the Dragon Ball lore. A couple more minor points before we get to the big thing, which is Goku versus Glorio. Goku is now a fully fledged wanted individual in the demon realm. Early in the episode, 2 soldiers come upon the crew. Luckily, Goku was using the bathroom, so they didn't see him, but they were looking for Goku. It's not clear if those were 2 of the soldiers that he attacked or those were just 2 other random soldiers patrolling the area who got the information from the soldiers he attacked. If it's the latter, then it means that Goku is straight up being hunted at this point by the demonic police, essentially. That's kind of a big deal, and that's probably gonna be how they get to King Goma early. I thought the collars that the demons from the third world are forced to wear was pretty interesting. I wonder who's enforcing that. It seems like it was King Goma, but I really don't know how that could be the case since he just became king, and it feels like this collar system has been in place for a while. But it doesn't seem like something Deborah would have done. I talked about this in one of my earlier chapter reviews, but between the strict laws on transportation, the collars, the separation of worlds, someone is severely oppressing the demons, and I don't think it's King Goma because he just became king, and it seems like he's bounded by a lot of the rules himself. Like when he traveled to the outside world, he still needed a PIN number, and he could have still been denied entry, it seems. So I wonder who is really behind oppressing the demonic people this heavily, and why. Another thing that happened is the episode finally revealed who Glorio is secretly working with, and as suspected, it was Dr. Arisu, Shin's sister. So by sending Glorio for Goku, she is working against King Goma, trying to get him dethroned. It's not clear yet why. Like, we still don't know her motives. Is she trying to become king herself or queen? Or does she want someone else in there? Or is she working for the people who are oppressing all the demons? Who knows? But we know for certain right now that she is working against King Goma in a serious way. Alright, the next part of this episode that got me was the Minotaur. Now, I really like the Minotaur. I don't know about you guys, but I really hope that he is recurring, that he shows up again later on in Daima, because I think he was legitimately funny. The Minotaur shows up and he's going to eat them, he says. Goku says he'll take care of it by fighting the Minotaur outside the cave. Glorio said no, he'll handle it, telling Goku that Kid Goku isn't much stronger than himself, than Glorio, and this sparks the fight or the sparring match between the two. Meanwhile, the Minotaur is just standing there watching them fight and realizing how far beneath them he is. The voice actor for the Minotaur sounds pretty familiar too. I'm not too sure who it is. I'm sure I could find it somewhere, but it was tickling my brain a little bit. So later on, he just kind of says he's not hungry anymore and heads back into his cave, and I really hope we see him again. I really hope he becomes a partner in some way. Okay, on to the fight with Goku and Glorio. First of all, I've been waiting for this. I knew this was going to happen at some point, but it's the clash of magic versus ki. Now, last episode when Pansy mentioned that all demons can use some sort of magic, right away I wanted to see what magic Glorio could use. And boy, did we not have to wait long for that. I see some people describing Glorio's use of dark magic as the lightning force from Star Wars, and I completely agree. Glorio can literally summon this dark lightning from his fingers and use it for attacks. At one point, he used it a bit like a whip. I thought he had cut Goku's power pole in half, but he didn't. He just used the whip to knock it out of his hands. And after that, Shin asked Goku to fight seriously so we could see more of what Glorio can do. Here, Goku transforms into a Super Saiyan for more than just a split second. And as a Super Saiyan, Goku completely outclassed Glorio. We get a clash where Goku in his Super Saiyan form strikes Glorio's lightning and sort of dissipates it. I think this is a very important scene for a lot of reasons. Give me like 60 seconds to talk about this. I think that was a pretty iconic scene. We saw it in the trailers before. We didn't know what was happening exactly, but now we do. We obviously saw this scene in the trailer before. We didn't know what was happening, but now we do. But the big thing about this clash, about this scene, is that it shows us that strength of will, or the strength of one's own life force, which in Dragon Ball they call ki, can combat magic, which is a big deal. Here's why. I think that Hakai energy, the power that you see Beerus and the other gods of destruction use, is sort of at the pinnacle of dark magic. That's why when Beerus used it in the Goku Black arc, he thought that it would erase Zamasu through all the timelines, because it's not just, oh, I destroyed you, it's I'm using magic to erase you. And that's sort of been the thing with Hakai energy. It's like you're just completely erased. But then when Frieza used it against Goku, we saw Goku was able to combat it with his own strength of will. It took a lot, he was fatigued, but he was not erased by Hakai energy. We weren't too sure what was happening then, but this episode proves that if you're strong enough, your physical ki can nullify the effects of magic, of demonic magic. So this fight was a pretty big deal to me. Anyway, after dissipating Glorio's magic, Goku teleports behind him and puts his hand on his back, and that's where Glorio admits defeat. After that, we flash back to the real world where Vegeta is training. He's lifting weights, y'all. Bulma tells him the ship is ready. They hop into the ship, and then there's some sort of problem. They crash back to the ground, and that's where the episode ends. I mean, we know the ship doesn't really matter because King Kadan's guy is on his way to get Vegeta and Piccolo anyway, and Kibito Kai, so they likely won't use that old ship to get to the demon world. But the Vegeta entrance is gonna be epic, guys. We see him training. We know Vegeta ain't no slouch, so Vegeta probably already has his Super Saiyan form again, and I'm looking forward to see his entrance to the demon world, what it's like when he meets up with Goku again. They're clearly going to be going after the Dragon Balls. That's going to be fun. Yeah, overall, Dragon Ball Daima is shaping up to be a nice little love letter to the Dragon Ball fan base. I would say if you only watched Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, you may not be having a good time because you're just looking for big epic battles. But if you were a fan of the original Dragon Ball, you have a giant smile on your face for every Dragon Ball Daima episode. I do think the epic fights are going to come though. I think we're going to get fusions later on in the series, so I'm here for it. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Let me know what you guys think of this episode 6. I'm enjoying the series. That's why I'm doing these reviews. I'm not really doing them for views or to grow the channel or anything like that. I just kind of want to talk about them. So let me know your thoughts so we could chat in the comments below. That's it for me. Guys, have yourself a great rest of your day. Bye.